Hey guys, LevelCap here and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. A leak has potentially confirmed some of what players can expect in Rockstar's upcoming game Red Dead Redemption 2. Namely a Battle Royale mode, FPS view option, and an online multiplayer similar to GTA Online. If the leak is to be believed, players will be treated to a more alive online world with businesses having opening and closing hours, activities like fishing and mining, customizable tent dwellings, and more. GTA 5's multiplayer currently has years of free DLC added to it, including a Battle Royale mode and extensive customization options tied to in-game activities like heist, PvP combat, co-op missions, and more. It's unlikely Red Dead Redemption 2 will launch with the same level of content, but it's certainly going to offer more than GTA Online's initial launch. GTA 5 also launched with an FPS mode which was later added by Rockstar in a massive update to the game. If this leak is true, it'll be interesting to see how much depth Red Dead Redemption 2's Battle Royale mode will have. As it stands, GTA Online is essentially a constant deathmatch between all the players on the server. If Red Dead Redemption 2 takes that dynamic and expands on it to make survival a more front and center activity, it'll certainly suit the game's Wild West setting. In other Battle Royale news, the ongoing fight against cheating in PUBG continues. The most recent PC patch included new anti-cheat measures, one of which blocks popular third-party programs like Reshade. The ongoing battle against hearing loss caused by PUBG was also addressed in the patch. Red Zone explosives have been made less loud overall. This is a welcome change for pretty much every player. The Red Zone explosions were tweaked in a recent update with the new, more cinematic sounds that were also absolutely deafening for anyone with their game volume loud enough to hear enemy footsteps. The huge difference in loud and quiet sounds in PUBG is actually a really big issue for the community. Posts are made on the game's forums and subreddit daily that detail how bad PUBG is for your hearing and ways the developers could fix it. The general consensus is to make loud sounds quieter and quieter sounds louder, decreasing the dynamic range of the game's sound mix. On console, the latest PUBG patch restored vehicle damage against players. Basically, the damage was turned down at one point to test out weapon damage against vehicles, but the vehicle damage against players has now been restored. While PUBG's sales have passed 26 million units sold, its current player count dropped for the first time ever. The 1.7% drop amounted to roughly 27,000 players. From December to January, PUBG grew by 10%, which pales in comparisons to the game's growth of 64% in September. The drop in concurrent players is likely due to the upcoming release of a Chinese localized version of PUBG being pushed by Tencent in the region. While PUBG's growth might finally be slowing down, Fortnite's growth continues to accelerate. The game had its biggest weekend yet with 3.4 million concurrent players. The traffic was so heavy it eventually crippled the game's server. Epic have been working to shore up the game's server system against these massive player counts, but so far haven't been entirely successful. Now, if you watched my recent video about cheating in video games, you might have heard that some of the developers behind the Stalker series and Servarium have announced a new Battle Royale game. It's called Fear the Wolves and will contain elements like hazardous anomalies, mutants, and a post-apocalyptic setting that the devs are known for. It'll also include a day-night cycle and dynamic weather systems. It's set for release on PC and consoles sometime this year, with an early access release on PC in the near future. DAYZ will also be coming to console this year. The dev team recently confirmed via Twitter that the game will be available on the Xbox Game Preview program at some point this year. A PS4 version is also in the works, but its release date is unconfirmed. On PC, DAYZ recently had a massive update that finally got it in the ballpark of what players have been expecting for years. Activision Blizzard just announced their Q4 financial results for 2017. Of the $7.16 billion they made last year, $4 billion was exclusively generated by in-game purchases, aka microtransactions. Activision's biggest selling titles, COD, World War II, Overwatch, and Destiny 2, all included microtransactions, and clearly they're doing quite well. Call of Duty is likely returning to the Black Ops series this year. Eurogamer is reporting that Treyarch is set to release a more grounded game in Black Ops 4 this year. It'll be set in modern times and may also be launched on the Switch in addition to all the other platforms. Black Ops 3 was somewhat well regarded by the community but suffered from a subpar PC port. The most recent game, Call of Duty World War II, has received somewhat mixed reviews overall, but it did have a much more solid technical launch. Metal Gear Survive is getting another open beta next weekend. It's an open world survival game set in the Metal Gear universe, but with zombies and tower defense gameplay elements. Fans of the franchise and its former director Hideo Kojima are understandably frustrated with the direction Konami have taken it in since firing Kojima. Survive certainly lacks the creative flair of a Kojima production, but that hasn't stopped it from being well reviewed so far. Metro Exodus is shaping up to be a big departure from the franchise's claustrophobic subway tunnels and bullet-based economy. We've known for some time now that the upcoming game will be a limited open-world game, but new details published by Game Informer have revealed new gameplay elements. Exodus will feature vehicles, new factions that react to your behavior, a hub world, and a crafting system that replaces bullets as the primary currency in the Metro. Weapon maintenance will also play a role in the gameplay, with clean weapons being less likely to jam or do less damage to enemies. The steampunk Dark Souls meets Dishonored game VAMPYR now has a release date. It will be available across all platforms on June 5th. The studio behind VAMPYR previously worked on the cyberpunk brawler Remember Me and the point-and-click adventure game Life is Strange. Rainbow Six Siege is getting a free weekend starting on the 15th of February to celebrate the Six Invitational Tournament. During the event, details about the upcoming Operation Chimera and its co-op event Outbreak will be released. The new content will be live on the test server for PC players starting on the 20th. Battlefield 1's final DLC called Apocalypse is just around the corner, set for a launch this month. 3 of the new infantry maps have been available on CTE, as well as 2 maps from the new Air Assault game mode, aka Air Superiority. The most recent CTE patch also implemented a few tweaks to SMG weapon balance that evens out some of the issues brought with the weapon TTK balance. In our final story this week, Valve have made some changes to the classic Diffuse map Nuke. The changes include the removal of an exterior catwalk on the map that was added when Valve overhauled the map last year. Despite its long history in the competitive CS scene, the new version of Nuke has been almost universally avoided by most teams at tournaments. These changes are clearly quick fixes, and players can expect more refinements down the line. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought the most interesting articles were, or if there's any other cool things that happened in the news. As always, I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.